सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। उकारस्तुण्डकारो वैरुकारस्तन्निवर्तकः अन्धकारनिरोधित्वात् गुरुरित्यभिधीयते। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ ब्रह्मविदा आप्नोति परं तदेशाभ्युक्ता सत्यं ज्ञानमनन्तं ब्रह्म यो वेदनिहितं गुहायां परमे व्योमन् सोऽश्नुते सर्वान् कामान् सः ब्रह्मणा विपश्चिदेति। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ एतमन्नमयमात्मानम् उपसंक्रामति य एवं वित् अन्नमयम् आत्मानम् उपसंक्रामति। The evam with, the one who understands or recognizes the Atma as Brahman, gains proximity or oneness with the Annamaya Atma. The Samashti Annam is gained by this person. That is the statement. Now that Vakya also is followed by Pranamaya Atmanam Upasankramati, Manomayam Atmanam Upasankramati, Vijnanamayam Atmanam Upasankramati, Anandamayam Atmanam Upasankramati. The Shastra is essentially telling that this person gains the Samashti Anariram, Samashti Prana Sharira, Samashti Manomaya Sharira, Samashti Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya Sharira, and finally this person gains Sarvatma Bhavam. The typical question which is raised by people against this Advaita is who gains this knowledge. We saw that in the last class, but I want to spend some more time here because it's a very important question. The typical confusion comes in terms of for whom does this knowledge take place. If you say that I am Brahman, then the Brahman does not need a knowledge for it to be Brahman. If you say I am a Jiva, then that is contradictory because Jivo Brahmaiva. So there is nothing called a limited Jiva. So either you have to accept that I am a Jiva, therefore I cannot become Brahman, or you have to accept that if I am already Brahman, there is no need for any such change. So this is how people get confused. The biggest switch is between Paramarthika and Vyavaharika. Unless, that's why Satyam and Mithya have to be understood at the same time. Without understanding Mithya, you can't understand Satyam. Without understanding Satyam, we can't understand Mithya. These two have to be understood properly. Then the Vyavaharikam and Paramarthikam comes to life. In many of the granthas, this question is raised upfront. Even in Bhagavad Gita Tika by Vellamanda Ramaraya Kavi, this question is raised. Shastropadesha Asakyam is the typical objection which is raised. There is no tenability of a Shastropadesha, because that's a confusion. See, suppose Krishna is giving this knowledge to Arjuna. If Arjuna and Krishna are same, that is what Advaitam is. Advaitam says that there is no difference between Krishna and Arjuna. If they are both same, then who is giving this Upadesha to whom? So there are not two people. Now, if there are two people, you suppose you accept that there are two people, then where is Advaitam? Again, if Krishna sees that everything is one, then how can he see Arjuna having a problem? In fact, Arjuna's existence itself would be questioned in Krishna's mind, because everything is Advaitam. So how can Krishna give an Upadesha as though there is an Arjuna sitting there? So all these questions will come, because people confuse this Paramarthika and Vyavaharika. The moment Paramartha Satyam and Vyavaharika Satyam is confused, there is always this problem of how is this knowledge taking place? Who is teaching who? This is the question. This is a typical question that comes up when Advaita is spoken about. Because Guru Shishya possibility itself is not there, is what they talk about. Even Visishtadvaitins and Dvaitins raise this objection. If it is all Advayam Brahma, who is giving knowledge to whom? Who is the person who is gaining this knowledge? Brahman cannot gain a knowledge of itself. And you are saying there is nothing other than Brahman. So there is nobody else to gain this knowledge. And Brahman itself also can't gain this knowledge, because it is already Purnam Brahman. So who is this person who gains this knowledge? So if your Advaitam is correct, there cannot be anybody who can gain this knowledge. There cannot be anyone who can even teach this. Is a typical objection. It's a similar thing that is being brought up here. Tatra etat chintyam. Let us analyze this. So the question is, kaha ayam evam vit? Because the vakya is evam vit asman lokat pretya annamayam atmanam upasankramati. See, very interestingly, this upasankramati is present tense. Pretya means having gone from. So if you typically take it as having died, then you can't have a present tense atmanam upasankramati. It should be future tense only, upakramishati or something like that. Correct? But Shastra uses the term upasankramati. Asman lokat pretya annamayam atmanam upasankramati. That's why Bhashyakara takes this pretya is having refrained oneself from indriya vishaya. Correct? Therefore, kaha ayam evam vit katham va sankramati. Who is this evam vit? Who is this person? That's the question. And katham va sankramati, how does this person gain it? Kim parasmat atmanaha anyaha sankramanakarta pravibhaktaha utaha sahayeva iti. Atmanaha anyaha. Parasmad atmanaha, we saw this, right? Paratma Parasmad Atmanaha means Paratma. Other than Paratma, which is Jivatma, Parasmad Atmanaha Anyaha, the one who is other than the Paratma, means Jivatma, Sankramanakatta Pravibhataha, Utaha Sayeva, Uta Saha Evai, or it is the Paratma which is gaining. Is it the Jivatma which is doing Sankramanam, or is it the Paramatma which is doing Sankramanam? Kim Tataha. So how does it matter? How does it matter? You are asking this question, whether Paratma which is gaining or Jivatma it is gaining. Why should we know which one is gaining? So he answers, Yedi Anyaha Syat Shruti Virodaha. Suppose it is Jivatma, then you have to accept that the Jivatma is the one who is residing inside and gaining this Sankramana. So if you have to accept that it is the Jivatma which is residing inside, then your statements that Tatsrishtva Tadeva Anupravishat cannot hold true. Whichever is the one which is the creator, that Paratma only entered. That is the statement. Tatsrishtva Tadeva Anupravishat. The same entity which created this Anupravesha and all we already saw. Bhashyakara explained that this Anupravesha is only Upalabdhi Sthanam, Upalabdhi. Where is this Atma available? So this Anupravesha and all, that's why just as a recollection, you have to take it out of the mind that this Sankhya philosophy is like this. That there is Trigunatmika Prakriti. Tattva Rajas Tamo Guna Prakriti is there. Within that there are multiple Purushas and they enter into this Prakriti and they live. Right? And then what is moksha means? This all these three gunas which is not in equilibrium, the moment they become in equilibrium, then that is moksha and all they talk about. So when we say this Anupravesha, immediately our mind will think that like this Prakriti of Sankhya, here also Bhagavan created this inert world and as consciousness it entered into it. We should not, this Anupravesha is, that is why it's a risky thing to understand. Because you shouldn't mistake as though, usually when they say Atma is inside means what we think of it as, we always think in terms of dimensions, right? Inside, outside, far away, nearby. Like that, then immediately Atma is inside means there is this body. Within this body you have lungs, heart and all that, brain. Like that, there is also one Atma which is sitting inside. Okay, that is how is a normal understanding, right? So that we should take that out of our mind here. When we say Tatsrishtva Tadeva Anupravishat means it is only Upalabdhi. If because everything is Brahman. Nothing is away from the awareness, correct? Even when I say the sun is so many millions and zillions of light years away. Even that distance is not away from my awareness, correct? Unless I am aware of that distance, there is no existence for that distance itself. Similarly, the sun is not, it can be away from my physical body, but it is not away from awareness. The sun's existence is not separate from the sun's awareness. Not just for me. Any existence is because there is an awareness of its existence. Therefore, everything is, nothing is away from awareness. There is no inside and outside. The inside and outside are also within the awareness only. If that is the case, then what is this Anupravesha? Even though I say the sun is Brahman, but the sun is known by this cognition, not eye cognition. So what is the eye cognition? That eye cognition is in the awareness only, right? That is the Shuddha. So if you leave all this aspects, the Chinmatratvam, Nyaptimatratvam, the Jnanam alone, that is the Swarupa. And where is that? That is available only in my Guhayam. Within the Buddhi Guha is its Upalabdhi. It is available for my cognition in my Buddhi Guha. Therefore, the Shruti uses the word Anupravishati. It has entered. It is the very essence of all that I cognize. The moment I say it is the very essence of everything that I cognize, then that Anupravishati, because it is inside. It is inside every cognition. Pratibodha viditam matam. In every cognition, this is there. None of the cognition, none of the awareness, none of the objects of my experience is away from this Swarupa. Therefore, it is the very essence of everything that I cognize. My own existence, the essence of it is that Swarupa. Therefore, we can say it is Anupravishati. It is indwelling in everything. Therefore, the Upalabdhi Sthanam only is meant. The Upalabdhi only is meant by this Anupravesha. That is, we have seen that. Now, this is a Purva Pakshi bringing it. The Purva Pakshi is saying, if you say it is the Jivatma which is doing the Sankramanam, then it is contradicting Shruti position that Tatsishtva Tadeva Anupravishate. Whatever was the creator only has entered. That is what is the Shruti statement. Now you can't contradict that. Then there is this other Brihadaranyaka quote, Anyaha Asau Anyaha Aham Asmi Iti Na Sa Veda. I am different from it. If somebody says, then that person has not gained that knowledge. Again, that means indirectly, it is basically saying you have to know it as yourself. Ekameva Advitiyam. This is the very common Tatsatyam Sarma Sveta. All these are Vakyas which say that it is the Brahman which is inside. So you can't say the Jivatma does the Sankramanam. Atha Sayeva Anantamayam Upasankramati iti Karma Kartrutva Anupapattihi Parasyayeva cha Samsaritvam Parabhavaha va. Alternate position is it is the Brahman which is a samsari. It is not acceptable for you. Is what that person is saying. Yedi Ubayata Praptaha Doshaha Na Parihatvam Shakyate iti Vyakta Chinta. So why are we unnecessarily analyzing if both the positions are not acceptable to you? Either you have to say it is Brahman, that means Brahman becomes a Sansari, that is not acceptable to you. Or you have to say it is a Jivatma which is doing Sankramanam, but then your own Shastra's interpretation doesn't give way for that. So there are only two possibilities and both possibilities are not acceptable to you as an Advaiti. So then why are you sitting and wasting everybody's time? This is what he asked. Ata anyatarasmin pakshe dosha praptihi tritiyo va pakshaha adushtaha saha eva shastrataha iti varta eva chinta. Suppose if there is another third possibility, then Ata anyatarasmin pakshe dosha apraptihi tritiyo va pakshaha adushtaha sayeva shastrarthaha iti vyarta eva chinta. Is there a third possibility is the question here. Now Bhashyakara says na tan nirdharanarthatvat. Now let us This whole chinta is to determine that. Satyam prapto doshaha na shakyaha parihartum anyatarasmin tritiyo va pakshaha pakshe adushte avadhrite vyartha chinta syat natu saha avadhritaha iti tad avadaranarthatvat arthavati eva yesha chinta. We saw this in the last class. Bhashyakara says, no, just wait. You are concluding me. You see, you are asking the question and you are giving the answer and you are saying that both are not acceptable, right? That is what is happening here. I haven't answered you yet. You are just saying that there are only two options. Either Rajinikanth will come to politics or Rajinikanth will not come to politics. These are the two options. If Rajinikanth doesn't come for politics, he is anyway not going to win. There is no question of him winning. Even if Rajinikanth comes to politics, then it is too late for him to come to politics, so he won't win. Therefore, there is no point in discussing about Rajinikanth coming to politics. Suppose I say, that means what I have concluded. It is my opinion, right? But if I ask you, you may come and say, no. Why are you dismissing this? If he comes to politics, there is already a lot of spade work he has done. No, I have no idea. I'm just giving an example, right? You may say, hey, he has done so much of spade work. He already has, you may not know, he may not have revealed his cards to you yet. But maybe he has done preparations. Maybe he has already got some people around him. Maybe he has already created a positioning for him. So let's wait. This is what you will answer. Because I can't put my words in your mouth. That's what Shankara is saying. Hey, you are just saying this, right? But I am saying maybe these are the only two options. But which one of this is acceptable is something that I need to answer. So you can't say that Vyartha Chinta and all that is what he says. Natu saha avadhritaha iti tad avadharanarthatvat arthavati eva yesha chinta. Satyam arthavati chinta. Shastrarthatvat arthavati eva yesha chinta. Shastrartha avadharanarthatvat. So our aim is to understand what Shastra is saying. Therefore, we have to understand. See, it may look contradictory, but it is our responsibility to understand what it is trying to say. So, if there are only two possible answers, and both of them look wrong to us, suppose, we can't just leave it and go, because Shastra is a pramana. And it is an independent pramana, right? There is no subjectivity here. It's a very objective pramana. It talks about things. We have already seen what is a pramanam and why Shastra is a pramana. Because Shastra talks about things which are not available for your other means of knowledge. So your reasoning, direct perception, inferences cannot give the knowledge which Shastra is trying to give you. Correct? That is the status we have given to Shastra as a pramana. Why am I saying it is a status we have given? Because until we employ it, we have no option but to trust it. That is the status of pramana. We have seen that. Quickly, if I have to say, only eyes, if I open, I can see the color of. So somebody says sun is in the color of orange right now. I have to open my eyes and see. Until I open my eyes, I have to trust my eyes that it will give me the knowledge. I cannot say I will use my ears first and then check if it is orange and then use my eyes. No. Only my eyes can give me that knowledge. Therefore, I give the status of pramana to my eyes and then I employ it. Similarly, Shastra also, until I employ it, I have to give it a status. Then it is verifiable, right? It is not telling you something which is, certain things are non-verifiable because it is essentially, if it has to tell you after death you will go to a heaven, it is not verifiable here because that is the nature. You are asking a question, where will I go after death? And Shastra says, based on your punya, you will go to Brahmaloka or whatever. Then you can't say, no, I need to verify. How will you verify? Because the question itself is, after death, where do we go? So we have to leave those. Those are non-verifiable. But the other things like Karirishti and other things, it is verifiable because once you do that particular karma, you will get the benefit, right? You are supposed to. Similarly, this Atma Jnanam also, it is verifiable because it is talking about you gaining it here and now. Therefore, as a pramana, it has a status. Now, if Shastra is trying to tell something, it says you are Brahman. Suppose you are not understanding that. There are only two possibilities. Either I can be a Brahman or I can't be a Brahman. Then you say, if I am a Brahman, then I can't have all this sorrow. If I am not Brahman, then the Shastra Vakya is anyway not meaningful. Therefore, we will leave this sentence and go away. Then you are not in proper way, correct? So it is our responsibility to try and understand what it is trying to say. Then only you are in the right status for the pramana. So you cannot dismiss saying both possibilities are not there, so why waste time? That is not the right way to look at Shastra. Because Shastra is only trying to help you. It has no other objective. Correct? What is it going to mean? Somebody comes and tells you that you are Brahman. What is that person going to gain by telling that to you? Is not, if I come and say, hey, I am Bhagavan, you give me, some all wealth and you pay me for this, then I have some intention, right? But if I come and say, you are Brahman, you are whole, you are the all-pervading Bhagavan. So your dukkham goes away if you recognize this. If I tell that, then I have no other ulterior motive here, right? So the Shastra is, when it is trying to tell you that you are Brahman, it is only doing it because of a karuna. Acharya, in one place, it says, Sahasramatri Vatishvatihi. It's like 1,000 mothers. 1,000, generally 1,000 means unlimited, is what we say, right? So the Shastra is like that because it is only trying to help you come out of this fear. So, who is a father? The question is asked. And then there are 5 or 6 people who are said to be father. Right? One is anyway Janakaha. Then Upaneta, the one who is taking you towards knowledge, right? The one who does Upanayana for you and takes you towards Vedic knowledge. And then Bhayastrata, the one who removes your fear. Because fear kills. Many people die because of fear, right? So the one who removes fear gains the status of a father. Like that, some 5 or 6 are listed. I don't remember the exact, all of them. So the Shastra is beyond even that because it removes the fear of samsara itself. Abhayam. Therefore, the Shastra has the karunya, because of it, it is telling you now you have to be sincere about trying to understand it. That's why Bhashyakara is saying, Chintayasi chatvam, he says Shastrartha avadharanarthatva. The Artha avadharanam has to be done properly. And there are methods to do it, right? What is the context? What is it repeatedly telling? All those things are taken into consideration when we are arriving at a meaning. Upakrama, Upasamhara. So how did it start? How did it end? What is being repeatedly told? what is the context in which it is brought. All those things are kept in purview when you are arriving at the meaning. Because these are not some stories told by some people. So it's not that, see, you can ask this question, right? Why is Shastra so difficult that you have to, do all this to even arrive at meaning? Suppose I read some novel, it's all very clear, no? So why couldn't have Shastra clearly given, this is what it is? Why should it lend itself to so many interpretations? See, there are number of Vaidika darshanas, right? There is Vishta, Dvaiti, then Sankhya, Nayayika, Mimamsaka. I mean, there is no limit, there is no end to this, right? Why is it so confused? Because this is not some one person sitting and writing. Shruti is what Rishis, it's a pramana, right? It's given by Ishvara. So in some exalted state, Rishis gained these sounds and then they just gave it for somebody to note it down, right? And they were all scattered all over. And Vyasa brought all of them together and brought some way, organized it. That's why it's called Veda Vyasa. Now, these are like gems. These are given by the Ishvara at the time of creation. And it is available to us through the Rishis. And obviously, it will be in a scattered form. These are not like some cogent, somebody sitting and creating them, right? Therefore, we need to understand. We have to find. We need a methodology to understand. So they have created a structure to how to analyze this. So we have to go through that process to understand. And secondly, by doing this analysis also, it is also a prakriya. We only if you dissect this and understand, it becomes clearer. It's a way to learn, because here the knowledge is taking place because of vichara only. This is not like a descriptive knowledge. It's not like how does heaven look? Then it is easy. You can say heaven consists of 200 acres of land. As you enter, on both sides you have palm trees, and little bit more you go, you find mansions. These are descriptive things. Or there are other set is mathematics and science and all that is analytical structured way of understanding theorems and all that. But here it's a very different kind of thing, because these are words which are revealing you. It's like a mirror shown to you. And it can't be descriptive, because your description can only help you know things which you already kind of know in parts, right? As in, when I described this heaven, I said trees, I said acres, I said mansions. These are words which have certain meaning, and combining these, I am giving you a descriptive knowledge. But Atma and Brahman is not already known to you in the right way. So a description is not going to help you. So the word, that's why this Bhagatyaga Lakshanam and all is used, like you use the known words, but you try to give a slightly different connotation to those words so that you can recognize what your Swarupa is. That's how this Pramanam works. Therefore, the way you look at these words, the way we analyze these words is part of the knowledge process. Therefore, Shastra cannot be a pure descriptive set of story. It has to be in a way that you look at those words differently and you analyze them so that the words in a way help you reveal your nature, your Swarupa. I don't want to say nature, your Swarupa. Therefore, this Chinta itself, see, that's why Shastra is about Shastra Chintanam. Shastrartha Avadharanarthatvam is what makes you recognize your Swarupa. Shastra is not to learn some dogma, right? Shastra, it's like a mirror. It is, these words are used to reveal yourself to you. That's all. These are just keys. Shastra Vakyas are like keys to the treasure of knowledge or Brahman, which is your own Swarupa. This is only a key, right? Therefore, the Arthavadharanam is what is important here. So Bhashikara says, Shastra Arthavadharanarthatva, the Chinta itself is for Shastra Arthavadharanam. So you have to analyze. Then the Purvapakshi says, Chintayasi Chatvam Natu Nirneshyasi. That is okay, sir. You are not giving an answer. You are just keeping on analyzing. But that is also, that's what we explained, right? It's not like I can give a statement, hey, you are Brahman, go away, right? That doesn't help, does it help? Just saying that you are Brahman doesn't give you, that is all. The whole Shastra is that you are all that is here, you are Brahman. There is nothing other than it. Everything else is only Mithya, like pot and clay. Simple, right? But then you will say, you are telling that, but I am not seeing that. Why? Because it is not about just telling and doing a nirnaya and giving an answer and going away. That's not, it is not for you to believe in me that I am saying this. Correct? It is the objective is for you to see. So if the objective is for you to see, then Chinta only is the process, not Nirnaya. Nirnaya is all this Veda Sadas and all which happens like two people discuss or a few people discuss and then they come to some conclusion. This is what Dharma is. In the current society, can somebody go abroad or not? Suppose this problem was there, right? Some 25 years back. People used to have this, not 25, I would say 30, 40 years back, when a lot of people started going abroad. Even before that, people used to go, but not in the scale that we are seeing in the last 40 years. So when people started going, then all this thing came, hey, should we go abroad? Can't we cross the ocean? Hindus can't cross the ocean, all that, right? So that's a Dharma related question. Then people assembled and then they took up some, all the texts and then they did an analysis and they came to some conclusion, whatever that is. So that is a Nirnaya. There it is about what is to be done, what is not to be done. Some Nirnaya was done. But here, we are not looking for a Nirnaya at all. The Chinta itself is the process. Therefore, that's why this person is not understanding that. He is saying you are doing Vichara. You should just say one way or the other, do a Nirnaya and go away. He wants a quick answer, right? Is there a way I can quickly get this Brahmanyana, this Kriya, Sudarshan Kriya? I am not saying Sudarshan, but I am just saying, is there any Kriya? Right? Some Kriya you tell me, I do this for 20 days, then I can suddenly become a Brahmanyani, right? So it doesn't work like that. This Chinta itself is the one which gives you the knowledge. Therefore, he doesn't understand, therefore he is asking this question, Na nirneshyasi. You are not deciding. You keep on doing Chinta, churning this. What is the point is what he is asking. Kim na nirnetavyam iti veda vachanam. He says, Shankara asks, hey, why are you saying? After a lot of analysis, we will come to a conclusion. So, why are you presupposing that we won't come to a conclusion at all? Na katam tarhi bahu pratipakshvatvat. No. I am concluding because there are so many opposing views. See, you are on one side. And there are number of people on the other side. Because it's so simple, right? There is only one Advaiti. But the non-Advaiti can be unlimited, correct? The moment I don't accept Advayam, then sky is the limit. I can say there are Brahman and 100 Jivas. I can say there is one Brahman. That Brahman means Ishvara, right? In this case, because the moment you say Brahman, then Advayam Brahma only we talk about. Let's take somebody. So when I don't accept Advaya Brahman, then what can I say? I can say that there are many creators. I can say there is no creator, there are many jivas. I can say there are jivas, then there is this prakriti. I can say there is anupramana jiva. I can say the jiva grows. I can say the jiva has only one birth and there is no, it doesn't survive death. I can say it survives death but goes to heaven. So there is no limit. The moment I accept that it is not Advaya Brahman, Dvaita means any, that you can keep on. There are multiple religions which keep coming, right? Because you can create your own. See, I can create my own proposition here, right? I can say that every jiva, it survives death, but only takes 10 births. After 10 births, the 11th time, it counts all the 10 births, whatever punya papa, and then it's, so this is one theory. Another theory I can say, though there are many births, there is no punya papa or karma. The births just happen based on, at the time of death, whatever this person's emotional push is. So if this person, it's like very similar to Bhagavan says, right? So at the time of death, whatever one believes in that birth percentage, like that I can have one more religion. So the moment it is not Advaitam, the Pratipaksham is manifold. So here also the Purva Bhakti says Bahu Pratipakshatva. There are so many points of view opposed to you. There is no way you are going to reconcile all of this, because you have to, others have to mutually fight each other very easy, right? They have to only minor here and there, they have to fight. But you have to fight everybody. Each one of them you have to win over, because you have to go and say why that person who talks about 10 rebirths is wrong. Then you have to go and fight with the person who says unlimited rebirth, how is that person wrong? And then Anupramana Atma, you have to go and put that person wrong. So there is Bahu Pratipaksha. So that is why you are not concluding any one way, is what he is saying. So Purva is saying that Ekatvaditvam Vedartha Paratvat Bahavaha hi Nanatvadinaha Vedabhahyatvat Vedabhyastu Tvat Pratipakshaha. So there are Bauddha, then there are others, Jaina, Charvaka, all these people who don't even accept Veda. No. Ataha mama ashanka na nirneshyasi iti. So you are not going to be able to, dismiss each one of them. So I have no hope on you. What is this? Vetadeva me swastyayanam yanmam ekayoginam anekayogi bahu pratipakshamatha. This is good only for me. Swastyayanam. This root is good. Ekayoginam. I am the one who says there is only Ekam Brahma. Anekayogi bahu pratipakshamatha. Ataha jeshyami sarvan arabhe chintam. I don't mind this kind of an opposition. I will show that I will win over all of them. So what? Just let's start. Sayeva tu syat tatbhavasya vivakshitattvat tadvijnanena paramatma bhavaha hi atra vivakshitaha brahma vitapnoti paramiti nahi anyasya anya bhavapattihi upapadyate. So he is starting with the Siddhanta Paksha. He says, Saha eva tu syat. That Parabrahman only is the one who is going to do Sankramanam, who is doing Sankramanam. That is my Siddhanta. What is your problem with that? He is not concluding now. He is starting with the position. You see this difference? Usually he goes through and then now he is starting with the position. Hey, you wanted an answer, right? Nanirneshyasi. You told me that I am not concluding. Let me conclude upfront. It is the Brahman is doing Sankramanam. Now tell me what is your problem. That's how we start. But he first explains Tad Bhavasya Vivakshitatvat. The context is already set. Brahma Vidapnoti Param. Tadvijnanena Paramatma Bhavaha hi atra Vivakshitaha. So the Brahma Vijnanam, and because of that Vijnanam, the Paramatma Bhava has to be gained is the context. Brahma Vidapnoti Param. Therefore, where is the question of Nirnaya? The whole discussion has been about this. So you are saying I am not deciding. Where is the question of deciding? Our starting position itself is this. Nahi anyasya anya bhavapattihi upapadyate. So Jiva cannot become Brahman. I also understand. Anyasya anya bhavapattihi na upapadyate. If I am a Jiva, by nature, if I am not Brahman, by reality, if I am not Brahman, there is no way I can become Brahman. Therefore, anyasya anya bhava apattihi na upapadyate. There is no question of one becoming another. Only there is a change in the nama rupa. There is only name and form change. Clay remains a clay, gold remains a gold, energy remains energy. Right? Nanu tasyapi tadbhava apattihi anupapanna eva. Na avidya krita tadatnya apohartatvat. So the natural question is, even if it is the case, tadbhava apattihi, then why are you saying this Brahma apnoti, that kind of a statement? How is it possible? Bhashyakara says avidya krita tadatnya apohartatvat. It is only because ignorance is hiding it. Ignorance is hiding. Therefore, I think I told you in the last class, it is like me having lost my reading glasses because I kept it on my head. Because I kept it on my head, it is not available to me, but it is there with me. Therefore, what is in between me and the glasses? There is no space. But what is in between me and the glasses is only the knowledge, lack of knowledge, the ignorance. So the moment ignorance goes, the glasses are available. I get my glasses back. My reading glasses are back the moment ignorance goes. Did I get it back? No, it was always with me. But how am I getting it back? Because of lack of knowledge, it was lost to me. It was lost to me because it wasn't available to me. Now it is available to me because the ignorance has gone. So I am always Brahman, but that Brahmatvam is not available to me because of ignorance. The moment ignorance goes, my own Swarupa is available to me. Puji Swamiji used to call it as owning up that knowledge, called owning up. The moment, suppose there is a pond. The pond has these green weeds on top of it. So I go near that pond, it looks like a field. I think it's a field, I keep my leg in that and then it goes inside. So now I know it's a pond, it's not a field. I take my leg out. Then the weeds again come back and cover it. Will I again think it is a field? No. My knowledge, despite me seeing the greenery there, the knowledge is that it is a pond. It is not a field. That is what is important. That knowledge is what separates me or brings me closer. Now I own up that knowledge. It is available to me every time I go to that field, the pond, that I know that it is the pond. That knowledge I am owning it up. Like that, in this case, I am Brahman knowledge. The moment, that is what comes with Manana Nididhyasana. Even though Shravanam brought me that knowledge, but because I don't have Mananam and Nididhyasanam, I am not able to own it up. Whenever I listen to the class, then oh yeah, I'm Brahman, right? I am able to see that. But the next day I go to office or I go to work, it is not available to me. Why? Because Swabhavika Pravritti is pulling me away, right? Therefore, we talk about Mananam and Nididhyasanam. Nididhyasanam takes away the Swabhavika Pravritti and makes this knowledge available to you. That is called owning up this knowledge. So when you are in the normal walks of life, when you are doing normal things also, this knowledge has to become available. Then only it is. So once you gain this status where this knowledge is always available when you are living, that is called Jivan Mukti. Jivan Mukti Lakshana is for a person in the most turbulent situations also this knowledge is available. That's called owning up. Anyway, so that is Tadatmya Apohartatvat Yahi Brahma Vidyaya Swatma Praptihi Upadishyate Sa Vidya Kritasya Annadi Visheshatmanaha Atmatvena Adhyaropitasya Anatmanaha Apohartha Ite Yahi Brahma Vidyaya Swatma Praptihi Upadishyate Sa Avidya Kritasya Annadi Visheshatmanaha Atmatvena Adhyaropitasya Anatmanaha Apohartha. This Anatma is negated. But before you negate, you do an Adhyaropa of Samashti. This I told you, I think, in the last class. Adhyaropa apavadabhyam nishprapancham prapanchate. There is a statement. By doing Adhyaropa and apavada, the nishprapancha means Brahman. There is where there is no prapancha. Prapanchate, you gain the nishprapanchatvam, the Brahmatvam, by what? By Adhyaropa apavada. You superimpose the samashti. Instead of this, the moment you are right now thinking, I am this one body, physical body, right? This limited physical body. What is this Adhyaropa? It says you are not this one physical body, but the whole samashti anna sarira is yours. Because this body is part of the food cycle. The samashti food, the world of food is what this body is part of. And you are part of that. That is Annamayam Atmanam Upasankramati. So I own up the entire Annamayam Samashti. That is Adhyaropa. And then it says not this physical Samashti, but it is the Pranamaya Samashti. Then you give up this Annamaya Samashti and you go to Pranamaya Samashti. So you have done an Adhyaropa of Annamaya Samashti. And then you have done an apavada. Hey, you are not this Annamaya Samashti, but you are this Pranamaya Samashti. Not Vyashti Samashti. And then Manomaya Samashti, Vijnana, like that it goes. And finally, you give up all these. Apavada, apavada, apavada. And then what remains? You don't have to do any Adhyaropa. Because Atma is self-revealing. Because of which everything, whatever you were just doing Adhyaropa of, that Adhyaropa was done because of this self-revealing. That Apohartha, that is Adhyaropa Apavada only is this methodology. See, all this is Prakriya. You have to understand, it is a methodology. So why should it say everything is your Annamaya Sharira? It's part of the Prakriya. If it is anyway going to negate, what was the necessity to tell them? See, suppose I have to reveal something to you. Right? I have to tell you that this particular bank branch, ICICI branch in say Connaught Place is closing down. Suppose I have to give this knowledge. I can just say ICICI bank in Connaught Place is closing down, right? That's all, simple. Instead, what am I saying? You know, all ICICI banks are open in Delhi. And then if you look at the ICICI banks which are in say Janakpuri, 75% are open. All kinds of information I am giving and then I am coming and telling you this. Why am I needed to say all that? Not required, no? So why is in this case Shastra, if it is anyway going to say that hey, all this is not that your Atma is only Brahman. Why did it have to then say, hey, Annamayam Atmano Upasankramati, all the Samashti Annamayam is your body, and Samashti Pranamayam is your body? Why did it have to say all this and then again? Because that's where you make mistake. You think you are the physical body, right? So it first says this body itself is not a single entity. It is part of the whole. It is the Samashti Anna Prapancha in which this physical body falls. It is the Samashti Prana Prapancha in which your breathing is. Your breathing is not alone, right? It is sustained by the whole circulation which is going on, the whole wind, the oxygen, the whole system of the air circulation is what is sustaining your life. If you don't breathe oxygen for 5 minutes, you are dead. And that is part of a large system, right? So there is a samashti which is involved. There is a truth to it, right? It's not like Shastra is telling you something just to superimpose, but you have to see through that. You have to see that everything is that prana, samashti prana. And then it asks the question, but then are you the prana? Then it says, no, see that, then it is your mana. And that mana also is not the individual mana, but it's the samashti. It's all connected. Manas is, it's a connected, that is samashti. So that is what is being, that's the why it is a prakriya, it's a methodology. Adhyaropitasya anatmanaha apohartha. You have to eliminate all this anatma, that anatma that you think are atma is eliminated. Katam evam arthavata avagamyate vidya matropadeshat. Then the question is, you are saying this, but what is the evidence that this is what Shastra is saying? On what basis are you saying this? How are you saying only ignorance removal is the attempt here? Bhashyakara says, Vidya Matropadesha. Here, Shastra is not trying to make you do anything. It is only making statements. And those statements are trying to reveal certain things to you. It's not saying you do this, do something after Brahmavida Apnoti Param. Learn this Brahmavida Apnoti Param and do some yajna. It is not saying. Because it is doing only Vidya Matropadesha. That means it's trying to remove an ignorance. Simple. Vidyayasya drishtam karyam avidyanavrittihi. Ignorance removal alone is the only product outcome of knowledge. Knowledge cannot do anything else other than removing ignorance. Tattaiha vidya matram atma prapto sadhana upadishyate. Therefore, atma prapti is only vidya. Why? Brahmavita apnoti param. That's it. It doesn't say Brahmavita tadanantaram some karya kriti. It doesn't say that. Brahmavita apnoti param. Some karyam kritva, it doesn't add. Marga vijnanopadeshavati ched. We saw last time. Anyway. So, he brings one small this thing, it's like knowing the way, marga. By knowing direction, it is giving you only direction. It says Brahma Vidapnoti Param, so please go and gain this Brahmanyanam. It is just saying. So by doing this yaga and all that, go and gain it. It is just telling you. So like that, if you need a direction, it will give you a direction, but then you have to know the direction and walk to that place. So like that, maybe it is giving is what he is saying. Tadatmatve vidya matra sadhanatvopadeshaha hetuhu kasmat deshantara prapto marga vijnanopadesha darshanat na nahi gramaha eva ganta ityetna vaidharmyat. We saw all this. Okay. So just because the way is told doesn't mean the village itself goes there. Right? You only have to go. Like that, hereby you know Brahman doesn't mean that Brahman itself is knowing it. What is saying? Vaidharmya tatrahi grama vishayam jnanam na upadishyate tatrapti marga vishayam eva upadishyate vijnanam. So when he's talking about the way to the village, it doesn't describe the village. It only gives you the direction to the village. In this case, there is no mention of doing an action to gain Brahman. But the whole discussion is about what is Brahman. The discussion is not about how to gain Brahman. It is about what is Brahman. Therefore, there is a difference between giving direction to go to a village and describing a village. Likewise, here also, it is describing Brahman. Na tataiha Brahma Vijnana Vitirekena Sadhanantara Vijayam Vijnano Upadishyate Karmadi Sadhana Peksham Brahma Vijnanam Paraprapto Sadhanam Upadishyate Iti Chetna Nityatvan Mokhyasya Ityadina Pratyuktvatvat Shrutischa Tattva Tadeva Anupravishati Karyastasya Tadatmatvam Darshayati. Therefore, he concludes with one small objection he raises: Ukta Karmadi Sadhana Peksham. So why can't you just say that already Karma Kanda has spoken about all that karma? So this Brahma Vijnanam, that sadhanam is already spoken. So here this Brahma Vijnanam is told. So you have to combine both of that and then use that karma to gain Brahman. Why can't you say that is the question? There is no Nityatvat Mokshasya. All that is accept. You can take it that way, provided the moksha is gained in time. Then you can say do this action and gain it. But here moksha is Nitya.